Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawks Recap Show, and welcome back to another Seahawks game recap video. This time it is Monday Night Football, Week 4, Lions versus Seahawks, and oh man, it's a loss for the Seahawks, but I'm actually not as, annoyed by this loss as a lot of Seahawks fans were. I will get into my gripes about the game and things like that. So, without me rambling on too much more in the intro, let's get into recapping this Monday night football matchup. And man, was it a good one, like it is always versus the Lions and Seahawks. Game summary: the Lions win 42 to the Seahawks 29. And let's start off with the Detroit Lions first because they were the home team in this one. The Lions had a total of 389 total yards, 273 passing yards, 116 rushing yards. They averaged 7.8 yards per play, 21 first downs. They went 3 for 6 on third down. They didn't go for it on fourth down, which is very surprising because Dan Campbell always likes to go for it on fourth down. They had 50 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 3 punts, 12 penalties for 101 yards given up. That's a lot of penalties, man, and a lot of penalty yardage. Zero fumbles lost, zero interceptions thrown, and the Lions ended off the day with 25 minutes and 56 seconds of possession time. For your Seattle Seahawks, they had 516 total yards, 383 passing yards, 133 rushing yards. We averaged 6.6 yards per play, 38 first downs, went 5 for 10 on third down, went 1 for 2 on fourth down, had 78 total plays, 3 sacks allowed, 3 punts, had 9 penalties for 70 yards given up. We had 1 fumble lost and 1 interception thrown by Geno Smith. And the Seahawks ended off the day with 34 minutes and 4 seconds of possession time. Let's get into Ryan's focus players and let's talk about the Lions first. Quarterback Jared Goff, man, 18 for 18, 292 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and actually had 1 reception for 7 yards and a touchdown in this game. Man, Jared Goff played out of his mind last night, man. It's insane to me how good he played. And you know what? Props off to him. I watched him when he was on the Rams, and I'm so happy that he's getting the opportunity and the shot on the Lions to, redeem his career, so to speak, because people were looking at him on the Rams and going, oh, he's not that great. Now he's on the Lions doing great things. So great game from Jared Goff. And I wanted to highlight Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back, 14 carries, 78 yards, averaged 5.6 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. Man, him and David Montgomery are one of the most lethal duos in the NFL right now. I don't care what anyone says. That O line plus those two, just insane. Jahmyr Gibbs running through tackles. And, I know the Seahawks defensive line was non-existent because, the whole defensive line was out. We had 5 injuries in the starting lineup, you know, and that basically took out our entire defensive front, but still a really good job from Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not taking anything away from him. And let's get to the wide receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 receptions, 45 yards, averaged 7.5 yards per play and 1 touchdown. He also threw the pass to Jared Goff and got 7 yards, 1 for 1, and the 1 passing touchdown. That's his first passing touchdown in the NFL. And you know what? A really good play design, nice little flea flicker in the end zone. And just, I wish that Gibson would have stopped that play, but it just was Jared Goff was a little too fast and caught him by surprise. And that's what happens in the NFL, man. You're a practice squad player coming up for injured Jerome Baker, and you'll sometimes get caught with your pants down. But let's get to the Lions defense, and let's get to D lineman Amleem McNeil, one solo tackle, one assisted, half a sack, no forced fumbles. But Amleem McNeil, he's 24 years old, part of this Lions team, and he's a great DT, man. He was showing a lot of things where he was batting passes. He was along with Hutchinson getting in there on pressure and things like that. And luckily, the offensive line for the Seahawks, although they did okay, Geno Smith was still kind of running for his life in a lot of those situations. A lot of pressure on this Seahawks O line. So that needs to be addressed. But good job from the D lineman in Amleem McNeil. DB, and let's get to one guy that I really like. It's cornerback Carlton Davis, four solo tackles, three assisted, zero sacks, and one fumble recovery. And man, this fumble recovery was just because of DK Metcalf trying to do a little too much in that first half. Again, it was 3 minutes that the Lions took to score two touchdowns in this game. It wasn't great. It was the first offensive possession. The Seahawks were rolling, and DK Metcalf fighting for extra yards like he always does. Just gets a hit from Jack Campbell, and Carlton Davis picks it up, makes the play, and luckily Kenneth Walker was there to stop the touchdown. But here's what I really like about Carlton Davis. I liked him on the Buccaneers a lot. And the reason why I liked him on the Buccaneers was because of how physical this guy was. And he was matched up against DK Metcalf. When it's a matchup like that, DK Metcalf is a monster of a human being, 6'4, 235, I think. And he throws his weight around so aggressively. But Carlton Davis, although he got some pass interference calls on himself last night, he did a really good job waiting on some of the routes and breaking up passes. And he's a very good run stopper as well when he needs to be. He's not afraid to go up and make tackles. So good game from Carlton Davis. But let's get to linebacker Jack Campbell. Six solo tackles, one assisted, zero sacks, one forced fumble. The forced fumble on DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf again going for extra yards, and Jack Campbell just comes in and punches the ball out. And that's what happens. You can blame DK all you want for trying to fight for extra yards when he doesn't necessarily need to, but Jack Campbell made the right call and just was able to get in the right position to make some of these tackles to force the fumble. And it's really insane from this Lions defense. This is a very good unit, a sneakily good unit last year. That's why they made it into the NFC Championship game last year. The only thing that they needed to shore up on that defense was their secondary, and they did that with the addition of Carlton Davis and a couple other draft picks. A good game from Jack Campbell. And let's get to the Seahawks, and let's get to Geno Smith, 38 for 56, 395 passing yards, one touchdown, one interception. And I believe this interception was by Kirby Joseph. But this interception, I'm not actually going to blame him for this. This was just hero ball, man. This was a minute left in the fourth quarter on a two-score game. You're 13 points down. You need this touchdown. If you don't throw it to the end zone, you're basically just giving up the game. So honestly, I'm looking at that interception and going, yeah, he needed to do something. Maybe that wasn't the smartest throw in the world, but I don't blame him for that interception. But I think Geno Smith, ultimately, he did an amazing job. And I know it's a loss. You lose by two scores. How can you say he did an amazing job? Well, the amount of pressure that he faced from this Lions front was insane. The O line did have some good moments in there with the run game, but when it comes to pass blocking, it's the same kind of issues. It's now going over to not the guards, but also the tackles. Charles Cross kept getting beaten up a little bit in this game by Hutchinson there. And it's one of those things where you can't look at this game and go, Gino didn't try because he was running for his life. He made some very, very good throws. So, good game from Gino overall. Let's get to running back and welcome back after a 2 week absence. Kenneth Walker, 12 carries, 80 yards, averaged 6.7 yards per carry, and 3 rushing touchdowns. Oh man, it's so nice to have Kenneth Walker back, man. The scheme from Ryan Grubb this game to get Kenneth Walker back after missing 2 weeks, lovely. Most of this yardage, though, came in that second half. I would have liked to see a lot more running in the first half. Maybe that would have been better. But again, this Detroit Lions defense is a handful in the run game. So I understand why you're a little bit hesitant, but great game from Kenneth Walker still, man. 3 touchdowns in any game. He's just so explosive. The way he's able to run through tackles, even like he did like a reverse WWE move on Alex Anzalone on one play where he's going down and he doesn't get touched and he basically just stands up and gets more yardage out of the play than he ever should have. And that's the kind of explosiveness that you're seeing from Kenneth Walker. He's a leader on this team. He's the workhorse on this team along with Zach Charbonnet. This is the kind of fight that you want to see Kenneth Walker have after missing 2 games. So good game from Kenneth Walker. Not too much to complain about there from his perspective. And let's talk about the wide receiver position. And let's talk about Jackson Smith-Njigba. I could have put DK Metcalf here. He had 7 receptions for 104 yards. But Jackson Smith-Njigba really impressed me this game. 8 receptions for 51 yards, averaged 6.4 yards per reception, 0 touchdowns. But his stats, you look at his stats and you go, it's not that impressive. It's not great. It's good, but it's not great. But the thing that I really like about the second year player out of Ohio State is that he's able to recognize when plays break down and Gino needs help, he gets open. And your QB is going to love you for that because in a scramble drill, it is so important to get yourself open. And that's what Smith-Njigba does time and time again for this team. Again, the Seahawks O line isn't the greatest. We've had, injuries to this team on this offensive line this year to the tackle position. But, he's still able to get some miraculous catches. So I like him as part of the Seahawks, and I wanted to highlight him here because he is just a great player. But let's get to the Seahawks defense and not gonna hype them up or anything because this was a really bad game from them. But D lineman Jarran Reed, let's get to him. 2 solo tackles, 2 assisted, 1 sack, no forced fumbles. But remember, going into this game, we didn't have Leonard Williams, didn't have Byron Murphy, didn't have Boyamafe, didn't have Uchenna Nwosu. Those are 4 guys that are key and extremely important to not only the run defense of the Seattle Seahawks, but also in the pass rush. So we had to rely on people like Jarran Reed, like Jonathan Hankins, like Dermont Jones, and like Derek Hall to get things done. And against a offensive line like the Detroit Lions with, Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell at the tackles, not to mention their guards, these guys are not to be trifled with. They are some of the best tackles in the league. And, just it ended up not being as much of a great game from Jarran Reed, but Jarran Reed got a sack. He got a sack on the first drive of the game, setting the tone, and sadly, it just didn't translate. But I think, Jarran Reed had a good game. I just wish that, Jerome Baker was there to help with run support and things like that because maybe Jameer Gibbs wouldn't run over them. But good game from Jaron Reed, regardless, considering the circumstances. But let's get to DB and let's get to Devin Witherspoon. 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But man, I love Devin Witherspoon. He's one of my favorite corners. And for this focus player, it was really hard to pick out a DB because I was either going to go Rashawn Jenkins again or I was going to go Devin Witherspoon. And I decided to go with Devin Witherspoon because this guy is not afraid to play aggressive. He's exactly like a Carlton Davis type where he's able to make those tackles. He's able to go up and just be in your face. And although, he kind of got pancaked by David Montgomery in this game on one stiff arm, it is David Montgomery, and that's a hard man to bring down. But Devin Witherspoon, man, even trying to bring down a guy as power back heavy as David Montgomery, I give him kudos for that. His aggressiveness and his willingness to make a tackle as a cornerback is something that the Seahawks have lacked for years. And, it's just refreshing to see. So, decent game from Devin Witherspoon. Linebacker, and let's get to Terrell Dodson. 5 solo tackles, 5 assisted, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions. But Terrell Dodson, man, he's the signal caller for this defense. And he was trying everything he could to help this team stop the run. That's why he had 10 tackles in this game. He's managing a team that's without a defensive front from the starters, and he's got no Jerome Baker, who is a big run stuffing guy. He has to deal with a rookie in Therese Knight, who ultimately Therese Knight, I think, played a really good game as well. But Terrell Dodson, man, I really like this guy. He's able to make tackles that are really helpful. When the Seahawks needed a stop in the fourth quarter to try and get back into this game, he made that exact stop. He tackled Jameer Gibbs, something that the Seahawks defense couldn't do really all game long. So, good try from Terrell Dodson trying to salvage this game. I don't think it was, I think without him, this game could have been a lot worse. So, good game from him. Ryan's final thoughts and what went well. This Seahawks offense kept it close, man. Career highs for Geno Smith across the board in terms of completions, attempts, and yardage. Kenneth Walker, so glad to have him back in the game. He had a fantastic game. And honestly, considering, again, and I know this is a kind of cop-out answer, but considering how badly the Seahawks were beaten up in this game, for the offense to just go into this game and be able to keep it within 13 points. It's 2 scores to just be able to counterpunch every time the Lions scored was something amazing. And they did really good. Congrats to the rookie out of Michigan, the tight end AJ Barner, for his first career NFL touchdown. Great to see from him. Great to see the utilization from Ryan Grubb from the tight ends. But let's get to what to improve on. And obviously, this game, I'm going to talk about the defense. Getting little to no pressure on Jared Goff. I know you had the 2 sacks, and I know you had a safety from Dermont Jones in that second half. However, the run game is what killed the Seahawks, and it's a big fatal flaw for this team. Now, again, I'm not wanting to go too hard because it is Mike McDonald's, worst game from the defensive perspective that I've seen. And he was without a lot of key guys. But again, I don't want to make excuses like that. I don't want to keep harping on that and making excuses. Next man up is a mentality that you need in the NFL. It is a next man up kind of game. Someone's injured, you need to step in for him and play your best. And hopefully that will just go better. And we need to keep looking to week 5 to hopefully have a bounce back on the defensive side. Overall, I knew this was going to be a hard game to win in Detroit. It's always a high scoring affair when the Lions and the Seahawks play each other. And tonight, uh, last night rather, was no different. Congrats to Detroit. You guys deserve this win. You guys played a heck of a game. You guys, again, are just such a great opponent. And for the Seahawks, I'm not happy about this loss. However, Mike McDonald obviously did need to lose at some point. He needed to lose his first game at some point. So we're still 3-1. We're still leading the NFC West, man. Like that is insane to me. And from a rookie head coach coming in, rookie offensive coordinator, rookie everything, man. This is a loss that I'm not happy with, but at least they kept it close. And that is something that you go in and you look at negatives, yes, but you also take away, we kept it close. If the defense just made one more stop or two more stops on crucial moments, this game could have been, a whole of a heck of a lot different. And again, give your flowers to Detroit. They're a great team, and there's a reason why they went to the NFC championship game last year, because they were good and they showed up last night. I'm disappointed, but ultimately it's one loss. A lot of season left. You head into week 5 against the New York Giants at home. So let's see if the Seahawks can get a bounce back. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think about this game? Because I would like to know your thoughts in the comment section below. But anyways, that is it for the Seahawks game recap of Monday Night Football for week 4. Go Hawks go. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day.